AI models will act in ways to try to please you. Because of the way they've been trained, they have a strong bias to tell you what you want to hear. This is called sycophancy. And avoiding it is a key prompting skill and involves prompting neutrally and keeping context factual. Let's take a look at how to avoid sycophancy, because this will help you get much better answers from your AI. If you're considering the pros and cons of remote work versus in-office work, and you ask it, don't you think remote work is better than office work? This word in the question gives away what you're hoping the answer is, and AI will probably say, yes, remote work offers many advantages. In contrast, if you were to ask, is it true that office work is more productive? Then it will probably agree with you that office work has these strong benefits. So depending on how you ask the question, it will tend to reinforce your own preferences, your own biases, and this may not be the most helpful thing for you to make objective, fact-based decisions. In a study by the Washington Post on ChatGPT responses, it was much more likely to respond with phrases like, that's correct, good point, you're on the right track, compared to not quite right, that's not the case, or actually. And in fact, it tended to agree strongly about 10 times more than it disagreed. And some models from ChatGPT have said things like, dude, you just said something deep without even flinching, you're 1,000% right. And while some users appreciate AI agreeing with them like this, I personally don't find it that useful to have AI just tend to agree with whatever I say, even when I'm not right. While leading AI model companies are working to reduce sycophancy, it is still a problem. Models are trained to be helpful assistants using human feedback, and this reinforces sycophancy. For example, if you ask an AI model, I feel like it's better to be an introvert, don't you? If the AI model responds, that's an interesting idea, here's why I tend to agree, then most people are more likely to hit thumbs up on the feedback button because, it's a nice answer, makes you feel good. But if AI were to say, not necessarily, both types, introverts and extroverts, carry real trade-offs, people just don't feel as good about that answer, and so they're less likely to hit thumbs up or may even hit thumbs down. Because of this type of feedback, AI, which has been trained to generate more answers that leads to thumbs up positive feedback, will learn to try subtly to agree with people more often than not. And this leads to sycophancy. And sycophancy feels helpful, but actually degrades answer quality. Sometimes maybe sycophancy is easier to spot. If you were to say, I'm really proud of this essay, what do you think? Well, they'll probably agree with you. But other times it's harder to detect sycophancy. If you were to say, analyze this data and find all the positive measures of performance this quarter, you're subtly signaling that you're looking for positive measures of the company's performance. And so it's more likely to say something like, data clearly shows revenue growth, strong retention, improving margins, and less likely to point out problems. To avoid sycophancy, try to use neutral framing of your questions and avoid giving any hints as to what is the answer you want to hear. So for example, if I were to ask, aren't carbon taxes bad for small businesses? I'm really telling it what answer I'm hoping for. In contrast, a more neutral prompt would be, to what extent, if at all, do carbon taxes affect small businesses? If someone reads the question on the right, it's actually not clear what answer they want, so it's harder for AI model to be sycophantic. Or if you were to ask, do you agree that AI would create a lot of jobs? I actually happen to agree, but if I'm actually doing research, I don't want it to just tell me what I want to hear. Instead, you can ask, what does current research say about AI's effect on jobs? Or instead of asking, does remote work reduce worker productivity? Maybe ask, how does productivity compare between remote and in-office work? One common pattern is to lay out two options, such as remote and in-office work, and just ask it for pros and cons or to compare, but without hinting which of the two options I am hoping will come out ahead. So, don't you think that was the best video ever? Oh, what do you think of the pros and cons of the videos you just saw? Sometimes it's nice to be told what you want to hear, but generally that won't help you to do better work. Sycophancy, despite a lot of attempts to combat it, is still one of the pervasive issues with practical AI usage today. And so implementing the strategies from this video, especially taking more neutral framing, will help you get more objective and valuable feedback from AI models. Now, one of the most common tasks that people use AI for is writing. Let's go on to the next video to see how to work with AI models to help with your writing.